$400 a day. And $400 a day would be $150,000 almost, so $147,000 a year. Hey, too good to be true. So I bought those computers because this little calculator tells me on one day you have a 400, so if you do it, the math times 365, you get $150,000. Well, I learned something after that, and that's something that's called difficulty. So what I didn't realize is that the calculator was a snapshot of the current day. But coins have an inflation protection. They prevent people from generating extra coins. So when there is more hashing power, more computer power to create coins, they simply raise a difficulty factor and making it more difficult to create those coins. And what I didn't know, that the computers that I bought were only a few of 60,000 computers that the manufacturer was putting on the market. So at the time my computers arrived, it wasn't too good to be true. So I bought computers of $10,000, and if you let them running for a year, they generate now around $5,000. So it takes you 2 years instead of 12 days to get your money back. So this was happening to my Dash miners, revenue going down and going down and going down. And if you look at, for example, a Litecoin mining, that's a much more steady market. I also learned if you start mining, mine a well-known coin instead of a very small coin. Small coins don't give you the revenue to pay for your power. So how can you start mining? What I did was my journey option 1, 2, 3, just like you see over here. You can lease mining power. And there are a lot of scams online, but there are also really good companies online. I went to Genesis Mining. Genesis Mining is a company in Iceland, and they have the biggest mine in the world outside of China. And they sell you different types of mining contracts. So they have contracts for Bitcoin over there, the Dash, Ethereum, and they sell you some packages. And those packages look pretty pricey, but if you do the math and you buy your own mining equipment, you buy your own power, then well, they are priced more or less the same. So if you want to start, this is a real nice start. I started 7 months ago, and I had my money returned in 4 months, and the contract is still running for 1.5 years. So that's surprisingly good. Second option, really nice playing at home, you also saw it in the video, is playing with a GPU miner. And a GPU miner is basically a computer with not only one GPU, not one video card it is, but with a lot of them. Most of them have 6 video cards. They use around 1500 watts of power and are nice to start with. You can start with them with a console software, CG Miner for the people who love it, or you can do the easy way and install Nice Hash on it, and Nice Hash does all the work for you. It's going to cost you a few cents, but you get lots of comfort in return. And the third option, not really an option to start back home, is an ASIC. And an ASIC, as you saw in the video, is an application-specific integrated circuit computer. And these computers have sometimes a few hundred chips that are all doing the same job, mining coins. So, the problem with these ASICs, they're always sold out. There's only one really trustful company in the world, and that's Bitmain. It's a Chinese company. They open their website sometimes for a few minutes in the morning at 10 p.m. That sounds like a decent time, but it's 10 p.m. China time. So you have to set your alarm clock, wake up at 4 o'clock in Holland, and be ready to buy those miners, because they're always sold out. You can buy them on Marktplaats or eBay, but you pay twice or more for the same miners. So, if you want to buy them, watch the Twitter account of Bitmain. It's Bitmain Tech, and get a push message if they say, hey, we're going to sell miners. They say today, hey, we're going to sell them tomorrow. So, and there's another issue. At first you could buy 100 miners at once, but because of the high demand, last time they only sold 10 miners to every account, and an account is attached to your phone number. So if you want to buy more miners, get some friends, create accounts at Bitmain and be ready to buy them. So it's really difficult getting these miners. And if you're able to get these miners and you have friends who help you get these miners, then you have another thing. Because where do you get space for miners like this? So this is a little data center I have with only 35 miners. The reason there are 35 miners is because there was no more electricity. 35 miners is 35,000 watts. That's a lot of power, and it's a lot of noise, as you can hear. They have big fans on it and they really make a lot of noise. So GPU miners, you could scale up GPU miners. So here you see a scaled up version of GPU miners. Big racks, lots of GPUs. And this is already becoming more professional than just having one miner. But you also see the electricity blocks on the floor. Same issue, where do you get the power? So if you really want to scale up mining, it's difficult getting there. Talking about power, this is the average power consumption of an average family in Holland with one child uses about 4,000 kilowatts a year. Well, if you take one family with one miner, they use 12,000 kilowatts a year. So you see that one miner is capable of tripling the amount of power people are using. So suppose you want to buy 60 miners and you want to put them somewhere, then you are in serious trouble. Where do you get half a gigawatt of power? So pricing of the power is also something to watch for, especially when you start mining back home. If you look at the power, everybody knows power is around 20 cents per kilowatt. That's only for the first 10,000 kilowatts. That's because we have this tax on energy, and the energy tax is 12 cents a kilowatt on the first 10,000. And then it will lower. So you can put your miners in a data center, but the data centers have failover power, they have cooling systems, they've got everything in place, they're really professional, so you pay a lot for the power. And power is the most expensive part in your miners. You can go to greenhouses here in Holland, that's what I did. They create their own power. You can find somebody who owns a windmill, or you can get your own big connection from the power company, but you also pay 50 to 100,000 euros to get such a big connection. Or you can go to Iceland. Iceland power is cheap, 4 cents, or Sweden. They've got Nordpol, that's a project where Facebook has its biggest data center of Europe in Sweden, and they pay less than 5 cents over there. So what I did is I tried to go big or go home. That's what I did in my life, so that's what I'm doing with Bitcoin now. So what I did for myself, I created data centers in containers, and I tried to get rid of the fact that cooling with air conditioning is taking a lot of power. If you look at cooling with an air conditioning for a computer, it's around 1 to 5. So for every 5 kilowatts of heat that I'm creating, it's costing me 1 kilowatt of energy to run an air conditioning. Well, I googled around and I found out that some people were cooling supercomputers with oil, and that gaming geeks were cooling computers with baby oil. So I started experimenting, and what you see over here is a miner in the middle, and there is some oil. It's transformer oil, and the transformer oil is dielectric. That means that it won't transport energy, so you don't get shortcuts when you put your computer in the oil. And there's a little heat exchanger that you use for the floor, and I have a little oil pump over there. And when you combine those, then I literally put my miners in the oil. The oil is adapting the heat 1,000 times better than air does. So in no time the heat gets transported from my miners to the oil. And the beauty of oil is, as soon as it gets warm, it starts expanding and it starts to come up. And so without having any flow, my warm oil is already going up and replaced by cold oil. So I'm going to show you my video of the containers that I built now. And this is a bit bigger than you can do in your average garage. These containers take 125 kilowatts. In these containers I have placed 2 baths, and in these baths I have all the miners. I removed the fans from the miners. They don't need to cool. The process is absolutely quiet, as you can hear on the video. And here you see all S9 miners. These are real Bitcoin miners. They're in oil, and the oil is really thin. It has a stroke 5, so it's 5 times thicker than water. But as you can see, it's really thin. And all these machines are running. So instead of having a lot of noise, here you see the warm oil is going up. And the process is absolutely, it's very good controllable, and it's very expensive in cooling. It's very efficient. So I have a little monitor over here. You see my oil temperature in the bottom of the tank is 20 degrees, and in the top is 35 degrees. I subtract the oil from the surface, only the hot oil from the surface. I have a floor heating pump, and it's pushed to the heat exchanger over here. In the heat exchanger you have oil running from the left and water from the right, and and I cool the hot oil with the cold water. And I have some electricity over there. There's 63 amps of power in every quadrant in this container. And well, this is my solution to cooling a lot of miners, because getting your miners somewhere in a data centers don't like you because of the extreme amount of heat that you're generating.
About payback systems. I mean, how fast does it pay itself back a container like this?
Well, as you saw, some miners could be paid back in 10 days. Yep. Too good to be true. And these containers, it depends on the amount of transactions that are done on the system. So if there are a lot of transactions on the Bitcoin network, what we had in December last year, you see the transaction price is going up. And then a container like this can pay 4,000 or 5,000 euros a day. And yeah, so if you do the math, it's more than $1 million for one container.
How much does it cost you to